Why three major religions are hiding the truth about Solomon's temple. The shocking truth: Christianity doesn't want you to know about Solomon's temple. What if I told you that Christianity's biggest mystery isn't on the cross, but in a temple destroyed 2,500 years ago? There's a structure that wasn't just stone and gold, it was literally humanity's divine GPS. Solomon's temple wasn't some regular religious building. It was the exact point where God touched earth. But why was something so sacred completely destroyed? And more importantly, why doesn't anyone talk about the spiritual power that existed inside? The Bible describes the temple with obsessive precision: imported cedars from Lebanon, pure gold covering every surface, precious stones embedded in the walls. But these weren't just expensive decorations. Every detail had a mystical purpose. The Holy of Holies, the most sacred core, housed the Ark of the Covenant, where God supposedly spoke directly to the priests. Imagine having a direct hotline to the creator of the universe. Here is the first secret that modern churches prefer not to mention: only a spiritual elite had access to the divine. Common people stayed outside, depending on priests as middlemen. God was literally locked behind curtains, available only to a chosen few. Sound familiar? How many times have you felt like you need someone special to connect with the sacred? But then something revolutionary happened. In 586 BC, the Babylonians destroyed everything. In 70 AD, the Romans finished the job. And guess what happened? Judaism didn't die, it completely reinvented itself. Without a physical temple, Jews discovered they didn't need a building to find God. Personal prayer, Torah study, and individual faith became the new temple. This is the mind-blowing truth. The temple's destruction was the greatest spiritual liberation in human history. It forced people to discover that they themselves were temples, that the divine doesn't live in man-made constructions, but within every conscious being. Judaism survived 2,500 years without its most sacred location because it learned the fundamental truth: you are the temple. Your body, your mind, your soul, all of it is sacred. You don't need a priest, pastor, or rabbi to validate your connection with the divine. The real kicker? This wasn't plan B. This was always the endgame. The physical temple was training wheels. It taught people what sacred space felt like, so they could eventually recognize that same sacredness within themselves. When the external structure crumbled, the internal structure was already strong enough to stand alone. Think about it. Every major spiritual breakthrough in history happened when people realized they didn't need external validation for their inner experience. Buddha under the tree, Jesus in the wilderness, Muhammad in the cave, all alone, all accessing the same divine frequency that the temple priests guarded so jealously. The destruction wasn't a tragedy, it was a graduation ceremony. Humanity was finally ready to understand that the most beautiful temple ever built was never made of cedar and gold. It was made of consciousness, breath, heartbeat, and the incredible mystery of awareness looking at itself. Practical action right now. Close your eyes for 30 seconds. Feel your breath. Feel your heart beating. Recognize that you're experiencing the same mystery that ancient priests sought in the Holy of Holies. The difference is you don't need anyone's permission to be here. If you're tired of depending on others for your spirituality, smash that like button. Comment inner temple to show you understand the power was always within you. And subscribe because we are about to uncover the secrets that three major religions guard about this exact same sacred location. Why Muslims built over the Jews' destroyed temple. You won't believe this. While Christians mourn a lost temple, Muslims celebrate an ascension that happened in the exact same spot. You know what's mind-blowing? On the exact location where Solomon's temple stood, today shines one of Islam's most sacred constructions, the Dome of the Rock. This isn't coincidence. This is an audacious spiritual statement that'll make you rethink everything about sacred territories. In Islam, Solomon isn't just some Jewish king, he's a powerful prophet of Allah. But here is the detail that'll give you chills. The Quran says Solomon built his temple with the help of jinn fire beings who controlled supernatural forces. While modern Christianity tries to hide anything that smells like magic, Islam openly embraces spiritual power in its purest form. Picture Solomon commanding the wind, talking to animals, directing mystical creatures to raise impossible structures. That's the Islamic version, a king prophet who mastered both the physical and spiritual worlds. Why do you think this more magical version bothers Western religions so much? Here is the explosive secret. The Dome of the Rock was built over a common stone that became the launching point of the greatest spiritual journey ever recorded. From there, Prophet Muhammad made his Miraj, his night ascension through the 7 heavens until reaching Allah's presence. A journey that defies all known physics. This rock isn't worshipped, it's a springboard. A reminder that true spirituality isn't about being stuck in one location, but about using that location as a catapult to higher dimensions of consciousness. While the biblical temple kept God trapped in the Holy of Holies, the Islamic perspective shows God in movement, in ascension, in infinite expansion. The hidden lesson here is devastating for religions that preach limitation. The sacred belongs to no specific people. The same stone that was sacred to Jews became sacred to Muslims. The divine has no nationality, no exclusive ownership. It flows wherever it finds open hearts. You know what the real magic of the Miraj is? It's not that Muhammad physically flew through the heavens. It is that he showed us the spiritual journey is always vertical, an elevation of consciousness that anyone can experience. You don't need to be a prophet, don't need to be in Jerusalem. You just need to be willing to elevate your perception. This is where Islam gets radically different from Christianity. Instead of waiting for salvation from above, Muslims are shown a human being ascending to the divine realm through his own spiritual power. Muhammad didn't wait for God to come down, he went up to meet God as an equal consciousness. The Dome of the Rock isn't just architecture, it's a statement. It says, the sacred didn't leave when the temple was destroyed. It transformed, it upgraded, it became accessible to anyone willing to make the inner journey. That golden dome catches sunlight and reflects it in all directions, symbolizing how divine light doesn't stay contained in one building, but radiates outward to illuminate the world. Practical action. Find a simple object near you, a pen, rock, a leaf. For 1 full minute, look at this object as if it were sacred. Feel the energy it contains, the history it carries. You just transform something ordinary into something sacred through your own consciousness, exactly like the rock in Jerusalem. If you're realizing that the sacred is everywhere, and not just in specific temples, smash that like button right now. Comment Ascension to show you understand your spiritual journey is constant elevation. And subscribe because the next perspective on the same location will shock you even more. The Masonic secret that will blow your mind. Churches hate this. There is a secret society that has been guarding Solomon's temple's true spiritual blueprints for 300 years, and they never intended to build a building. Here is the truth that'll make traditional religions tremble. Freemasonry discovered that Solomon's temple was never about architecture. It was about human alchemy, transforming imperfect human beings into masters of themselves. And they have the tools to do it. Masons didn't want to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem because they know a devastating secret. The real Solomon's temple is you. Every ritual, every symbol, every degree of Masonry is a step in building your inner temple. And unlike religions that make you depend on external saviors, Masonry teaches you to be your own spiritual architect. The 2 columns at the temple entrance, Boaz and Jachin, represent strength and beauty. But here's the secret code. They symbolize the pillars you need to balance within yourself. Strength without beauty becomes brutality. Beauty without strength becomes frivolity. The Mason learns to be powerful and harmonious simultaneously. You know why churches fear Masonry? Because it teaches you don't need intermediaries. The great architect of the universe that Masons revere isn't some jealous god demanding worship. It's a creative force inspiring you to become your best self. Not through begging, but through inner work. Here is the secret ritual that'll transform your life. Masons call it polishing the rough stone. You're born as an irregular stone, full of imperfections. But through discipline, knowledge, and inner work, you transform into a perfect cube, a balanced, wise, and powerful person. Masonic magic doesn't involve potions or spells. It's the magic of gradual transformation. Every vice you overcome, every fear you face, every skill you develop, all of this is part of building your personal temple. That's why Masons call themselves builders. But here is where it gets really interesting. Masonic lodges are literally designed as Solomon's temple replicas. When you walk into a lodge, you're walking into a three-dimensional meditation on ancient wisdom. The checkered floor represents duality, good and evil, light and dark. The pillars represent the balance points of consciousness. The altar represents the sacred center of your being. Every Masonic degree is a death and rebirth. You symbolically die to your old, limited self and are reborn as a more enlightened version. This isn't just ceremony, it is practical psychology. By ritually experiencing transformation, your subconscious mind accepts and integrates real change. The deepest Masonic secret is this: they don't worship Solomon's temple, they rebuild it inside every initiate. Each Mason becomes a living temple, with their own internal pillars, their own holy of holies, where the most important decisions are made. And here's what's most powerful: unlike religions that promise rewards after death, Masonry delivers results in this life. Self-control, wisdom, powerful networking, leadership skills, all systematically built through rituals and teachings. George Washington was a Mason, so were Benjamin Franklin, Mozart, and countless other history changers. They didn't succeed despite their Masonic involvement, they succeeded because of it. The temple building principles gave them an internal structure that external chaos couldn't shake. Practical action: choose a bad habit you have: procrastination, anger, self-sabotage. Now imagine you are a sculptor, and this habit is an irregular piece of your personal stone. Define one specific action you can take today to start polishing this imperfection. Transformation begins with a single chisel strike. If you're ready to become the architect of your own evolution, smash that like button immediately. Comment architect to show you understand your destiny is in your own hands. And subscribe, because we are about to reveal how these three visions connect in a way that'll blow your mind. This discovery will change how you see God forever. After analyzing Jewish, Islamic, and Masonic perspectives, I discovered something that'll forever change how you see spirituality, and it's simpler than you imagine. 3 religions, 3 eras, 3 completely different interpretations of the same sacred location. But there's a golden thread connecting them all. And when you see this pattern, all the world's religious confusion finally makes sense. Judaism taught us that when the physical temple was destroyed, they discovered they never needed it. The real connection with the divine was within each person all along. Islam showed us the sacred has no owner, it transcends nationalities and manifests wherever sincere hearts exist. Masonry revealed we're all spiritual architects, capable of building our own holiness through disciplined inner work. Here is the explosive truth that organized religions don't want you to discover. All these traditions reach the same revolutionary conclusion through different paths. The true temple was never a building in Jerusalem. It was always you. You know why this is so dangerous to traditional religious structures? Because if you're your own temple, you don't need organizations to validate your spirituality. If you can connect directly with the sacred, you don't need to pay tithes to intermediaries. If you can be your own priest, pastor, or guru, the entire system of spiritual control collapses. The real magic isn't in complicated rituals or specific locations. It's in your ability to transform thoughts into reality, to heal trauma through understanding, to find peace amid chaos through conscious breathing. This is witchcraft at its purest level, the ability to alter your internal reality and, consequently, your external experience. True empowerment doesn't come from believing you're special. It comes from recognizing that everyone is special. Every person carries within themselves the same sacred potential as ancient prophets, kings, and masters. The difference isn't in DNA or divine selection, it's in the willingness to do the inner work. Solomon's temple was destroyed twice to teach us that external structures are temporary. But what you build within yourself, your wisdom, your compassion, your inner strength, no one can destroy. That's eternal. Here is what blew my mind. Every major spiritual tradition eventually arrives at the same destination through different routes. Buddhism calls it enlightenment. Christianity calls it salvation. Islam calls it submission to Allah. Masonry calls it becoming a master mason. Different words, same destination. Recognizing your own divine nature. When you breathe consciously, you're sanctifying your body. When you meditate, you're entering your personal holy of holies. When you act with compassion, you're manifesting the divine in the physical world. When you overcome a fear, you're doing the construction work Masons call polishing the stone, the ultimate secret that all three traditions guard. God was never separate from you. The temple, the mosque, the lodge, they're all training facilities to help you recognize what was always true. You are not seeking the divine. You are the divine seeking itself through human experience. This isn't blasphemy. This is the natural conclusion of authentic spiritual practice. Every mystic throughout history who went deep enough eventually realized the seeker and the sought are one. The temple and the worshipper are one. The creation and the creator are one. Final practical action. Right now, stop everything. Put your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. This organ pumping life through your body is more sacred than any temple ever built. Recognize that you're carrying the universe's greatest miracle, a consciousness capable of love, creation, and transcendence. You are the temple all religions are seeking. If this journey transformed your perspective on spirituality, smash that like button and share this video with someone who needs to discover their own sacred power. Comment awakening to show you understand you were always more powerful than they made you believe. Subscribe because we'll continue unveiling secrets that can unlock your full spiritual potential.